In this lesson, there is a lot of stuff that I cover. If you are working on your own character model, this may be totally unnecessary and you really may not have to look at it. So I really want to explain what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking the segmented limbs that I previously showed you and that we parented together and set up all the anchor points, and we're going to paste those in the other composition with all of the other Rocket Randy pieces, and then we'll sort of position them around. This is totally unnecessary if your character doesn't have two sets of limbs, but there may be some good tips and points in there for you. The other thing that I go through is just renaming layers, reordering things, showing you the layer order that things need to be in for Rocket Randy, because nothing's really quite organized properly with the way that we've merged the two puppet compositions. And lastly, I go into some really basic fixes on the upper torso where the neck isn't quite working out.
Okay, so we have all these layers ready to go, and now we just want to start bringing in the next layers. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is in the Rocket Randy Puppets folder, I'm going to create a folder called Segmented Pieces Comp, because I want somewhere to put all these. Put that there, and the puppets I'm going to have segmented. Actually, you know what? Let's create a folder for segmented. And then another folder for whole, which we won't come back to for a while. We have segmented and whole. I'm going to put the segmented guy in there and then the segmented pieces in there. So everything is fairly clean. And this guy's floating around, but I'm not worried about that at the moment because we're actually going to use this one as our source for a lot of the pieces. So that we're going to call this GG flat, but let's call this RR. We have our segmented. We can either copy all of these and paste it in here, which is what I'm thinking I'll do. So I'm going to call this RR segmented parts. And then this one I'm going to call RR segmented. Now you're going to see why we duplicated this is because I'm going to mess this one all up, and we're going to want to go back to that archive and duplicate a new one when we actually start doing the Puppet Tool version. So now we have this defined as RR segmented. First thing I want to do is bring all these layers, these parts here, into this layer. And I just want to copy and paste them because I'm going to keep everything I've done. So I'm pressing Control A, Control C, and let's just take a look. Okay, so we're going to select all of these and Control C to copy them. Go to RR segmented. Now this is going to make a bit of a mess. Like there's going to be a lot to deal with here, so get ready. And they're not going to paste where they should. Now what I can do, since they're all selected, is I'm just going to pull this around and try to get them roughly where they should be. Oops. I don't know if this is working or not. Oh, and this composition is in full. We don't really want it in full because it's too much to have. I'm not working on a very good computer for this. It's quite an old system. Let's move down to 3/4, or sorry, 1/3. 1/3 resolution. Let this sort itself out. If you're finding things are running really slow, one thing you can do is actually just pull up, if you're in Windows, pull up your task manager, and you can do that by right-clicking on the start bar and pulling up the task manager, or pressing Control-Alt-Delete, and the task manager will come up. And oftentimes when After Effects really slows down, the reason for it is because of a huge lack of RAM. And this particular computer only has 4 gig of RAM, so I can't do a lot before it really starts bogging down. Go to performance. So right now we're at 3 gig of RAM being eaten up, which may not seem like a lot, but I probably have a gig allocated to everything else. We're getting pretty close to the top of this thing's capabilities. So let's try to move these around and get them roughly. We're not going to be able to see it well enough to get them exactly in position, which isn't really even the point anyways. We'll have to sort of play this all by ear. So I'm just moving these around with the arrow keys. I'm going to try to position this as well as possible. I'm actually using the torso as a reference because I know that's fairly consistent. The arm positioning and all that stuff is going to be off, but the torso pieces I never really made different in the composition layers. Okay, great. So all of these are now in place. So now what we can do is we can go through and start deleting all the full arm pieces. So for some reason those two weren't selected. So let's just get those where they need to be. Side leg. I'm going to put that here. It's not right. That one should be going here. I don't know why it didn't grab that. Use my arrow keys. It's easier. If you have adaptive resolution on, it's easier to use your arrow keys for stuff like this. It's a little bit funny because on this computer, I think it's probably because it's an old laptop and the NVIDIA card doesn't work with the accelerated graphics capabilities of CS6. It's the wrong card. It's an older card. And this laptop is from quite a while ago. I think so what that's doing is I think it's not able to use the fast draft, and fast draft is much better at working if you need to work quickly. It's great for animation, I find, because it's more akin to real time than a lot of other things. Okay, so I think these are positioned well enough for now. So what I'm going to do is start deleting the full pieces, and that's everything. All the full pieces are going to be underneath this stuff that we just added. We're going to be looking for the arms and deleting those. Arm, don't delete anything else but the arms and legs and the torso. Torso, keep the torso skirt. Don't get rid of that. And just going to try to look for the arms and the legs mostly. Arms, legs, boots. We can get rid of the boots. There's a leg. Let's get rid of the leg. Another leg. Torso skirt, keep that. Making sure. Okay, rocket, pelvis. Arm, get rid of. Torso, get rid of. Foot, get rid of. And that should be called boot, by the way. I apologize. Some of my naming is not ideal. Leg, arm, another boot, rocket, rocket, rocket. We don't have to worry about that stuff. Okay, we might be in the clear. And maybe not. It seems, there we go. We're missing the left leg. We haven't managed to get rid of that yet. That's the side leg left. There it is. Delete that. And I could tell because it was opaque. There we go. Now all of our segmented limbs are semi-transparent, and now we can move into the next step of positioning them with the hips and starting to marry this whole puppet together.
Before we move on from this stage, I just wanted to address two things really quickly that I didn't realize at the time. In the bottom left corner, one of the boots is outside of the screen, so it didn't get moved around properly when I pasted everything. And then on the right-hand side here on this boot that's opaque, the non-segmented boot is still there, which is why it looks opaque. So it has a segmented boot and a non-segmented boot sitting on top of each other. So I need to delete that. In the next part of the video, I had actually gone and done all of that, and I didn't go through the steps. So I just wanted to tell you what happened there, and what I ended up doing was bringing that other boot up and connecting it back to the foot and repositioning it properly, and then getting rid of this existing non-segmented boot that you can see right here on the right-hand side. So as you can see in this shot here, I've got everything repositioned and cleaned up properly.
So now it's time to start reorganizing all the layers and trying to group everything together. Currently, the 3/4 and the side are split up, but they're not split up properly. I just want to start managing the layers a little bit. So I'm going to put on this little hidey hole guy, and anything that's put where it needs to be can actually be hidden away. I'm going to select everything here and select transparency and put it to 100%. It's okay to see things at 100% now. Have a look what that's done. So everything is fairly opaque. So as you can see, a lot of the layers are misordered and not where they need to be. So the next big step will be to reorganize those layers. And we'll start with the side person here. And what do we have here? We have the side torso, arm left and arm right. I need to just see, I kind of need to see what I'm doing here. I don't have a lot of room in this screen. So the side torso skirt is definitely going to go underneath the actual torso. Both 1 and 2. Torso 1 is the top one and torso 2 is the bottom one. So I want side torso skirt to go underneath that. I can actually turn that to a purple. There we go. And, oh, I did the wrong thing there. Turn this one to a purple. There we go. And let's keep going. I think I should have a belt there, side, torso, belt. That'll go underneath the skirt. And then the actual pelvis will also go underneath the skirt. But it should also, if we go under the belt on that one, our leg, our side leg, like a left leg, should go on top of that. So just go here, pull this leg. We can just put the pelvis underneath that if you want. And this will all be purple because I'm kind of thinking anything in the center is purple based on what we've done here. Turn that to a purple. There we go. So that's starting to look a little bit better. The next thing is the arms seem to be displaced. We have side arm left 1 and 2. And I don't know where 2 is. If you take a look at this thing here, is this guy actually got moved over. And so this is why the arm had disappeared. So now that arm is back where it needs to be. So this arm needs to go above the neck, actually. So let's put this neck down. This neck we want beneath the torso. Everything on the torso except the skirt. So that neck goes below that. That looks a lot better. That arm is there. I'm just going to turn off, actually, the rocket elements for now. Just turn these guys off. Just so that we can get a clear picture of what's going on. Now we have to deal with this back arm. So the right arm. Just have a look where that's sitting. Side. There's the right hand. Hand left too. Okay, this hand left is part of the side arm. So that's going to go underneath. Let's go underneath the arm here. That hand is going to go underneath there. So there we go. Now I'm going to put that to an orange. Here we are. And I think the next thing I need to do is figure out where this arm is. Side arm left to, what is this arm? Where is this arm? That one there. Okay. So I've just selected it. I'm going to press P. Oh, where is that arm? Side arm right. Side arm right too. I feel like, it's because it's in front of the rocket. So it's in the right place, but the side rocket should be above the arm. So let's put that above the arm here. And the other thing we have to worry about is this hand here. This hand needs to go below everything. So that hand will be at the very bottom of everything. Let's bring that hand way down. There we go. And that'll be more accurate. And we're going to reposition that and do the anchor points in just a little bit here. I want to make sure the hands are at the same height roughly. There we go. We'll fix that up later. Okay, and then I'll just check those straps. So side rocket, buckle, and belts. I want that to actually go under the shoulder. So I don't want it to go over. So let's put it under the arm and the hand. And there we go. This character is layered out properly, I believe. Let's just double check this leg here. And this leg, I mean, technically this leg should go underneath the rocket, and the same thing with the boot. It should go underneath the rocket completely. So let's bring this, we might as well just do that now. Put it underneath the rocket. Oops. And just above the arm. And that's going to go here somewhere. Let's make sure that we have the feet matched up. Make sure that the bottom feet are lined up. That's my main priority. There we go. Okay, so that's done for now. Next thing we'll do is we'll continue to modify this, but essentially this guy is sort of in the right position. Okay, now that everything is put together, the next thing will be to organize our layers and make sure everything is ordered properly, because right now you can see there's no pelvis. You can't see anything going on in this 3/4 puppet that we actually need. So we need to build these layers up and make sure everyone's in the right place for the rest of the puppet. So I think we have the 3/4 puppet is one we need to work on a little here. And we basically have to find a way to find the pelvis and the belt and everything like that and get that back where it belongs. So here we have the pelvis, the belt, and the torso skirt. That needs to go above. Go up, up, up. That needs to go above that back leg, 3/4 leg right. That's going to go in front. So you see that'll emerge nicely. And the belt and the torso skirt needs to go above the actual leg left as well, because I want it to sort of sit on top there. All right, so those guys are ordered properly. And okay, and the neck's also not in the right place. So let's grab the 3/4 neck. Where is that? 3/4 head, ear, front, back. There's the neck. Okay. Shift select those three, bring them up here in the middle of the torso. We did that nice split there. Still going to need a little bit of work because, as you can see, there's this little piece that's cutting in right here. So I need to fix that. I'll probably remove that using the mask. Just using the mask tool. But other than that, it looks okay. And let's see, rocket strap looks okay. Might be able to split this up even more and even get some better layering happening. So let's just take a look here. We have torso front. May end up having to have a couple of different torsos happening. So take a look at torso front. I may do one for the collar specifically, but okay. Let's just get all these layers organized first. Put all the 3 cues together. I'm going to zoom out here. Okay, so here's the 3/4 puppet. What do we have? We have arm left. Wheel, buckle, that's good. The torso front, good. Ear, head, ear, back. We'll worry about we may end up grouping the head together. I'm not 100% sure yet. Neck, that looks good. The torso back. Okay, and then we have torso 2, which is what should be the bottom of his torso. Great. And that's a yellow. So I want to get let's get these guys 2 yellows because they're going to be our core of his body. And the neck, turn that yellow. And I usually save a different color for the actual head. Okay. Torso, skirt, and belt, that'll be yellow. And then the pelvis, that'll be yellow. Okay, and there's the boots. And then we can move into the front head, which is kind of just going to float on its own for now. And then the rocket. See, now this head, we need to get this out of here. This hand is okay. We want this hand, right? Okay, this hand I think this hand is going to have to come up. But this head, this one here, this needs to be moved. So this one needs to come up. We'll put it at the very, very, very top. And just lock it for now and hide it because we're not working with it for a while. And then scroll down. Now, this hand, I think I have to get this hand put away. I'm not sure where it is at the moment. We have, yeah, it's underneath everything. Now, this hand shouldn't be under everything. It's under this whole character. It needs to be up with the other hand, with the arm. So, arm left, there we go. Now, it should be in front of everything. Go. And this hand, on the other hand, should be behind everything, including this arm. Okay, that's the arm. Hand right, there we go. Let's put that into a blue. Good. And actually, let's get that other hand. Make sure that other hand there is a red. Awesome. Okay, so now we have the rocket cushion, rocket engine, and everything else. I think I'll leave those. So that's all put together. Now, the one thing I wanted to do really quickly is let's deal with this torso because I think I need some extra pieces here. We're going to go torso front. And let's actually, I'm just going to close this one for now. Let's actually find that composition. So reveal composition in project. There it is. We're going to want another one too. So we're going to duplicate this sequence. 3/4 torso front. And maybe we'll call it front collar. And then comp. Names are getting a bit long, but that doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take this and I'll duplicate this composition and alt drag this on top just so they're in exactly the same place. And this is torso 01 front. I'm going to call it collar. There we go. Let's go in here. And then I'm just going to change where that mask is or just add a new one. Put this to full and draw a new mask. So we're going to do one on the collar. Oops, we have a shape layer there. Delete that. Grab a new mask. Start adding a mask to this. Lower. Now, the other thing I had was this back piece. I want it just to be this piece. Oops. It'll be a bit tricky. I'll have to move that one later. Okay, and then we'll just keep everything else as is. And what this one will do is this one, maybe I can do an intersect. There we go. So now I've got that built in here and then here. Now, what I'd like to do is add a black line right along this ridge. Now, it's going to be a bit tricky because when you want to paint on something, it forces you to open it up in a wholly new, like a composition. You have to double click on this to use the brush. But thankfully, it's showing me my masks, which is a positive thing. Let's grab a black brush. And we want to grab, what kind of brush do we want? This is a hard one. Hard round. Look, looks pretty good. We can just paint right on top of it. There we go. Great. It's a nice fast solution for this type of problem. There we go. We now have a front collar. Let's go back. Close this. I guess we could close this one for now. Let's just have a look at what we've got here. You can see there's that line on there. So this one, I want to go in front of the buckle and the strap and everything. And I just added that black line because we're actually going to take on the actual torso front here, I'm going to get rid of that collar piece. And that collar piece will go onto the back torso. So let's go in here. And we're just going to remove this collar piece. In fact, we can cut in quite a bit on this guy because we don't actually need any of that collar because we're actually added the collar on the front. So I'm just going to add a new piece here that actually just subtracts this collar away. There we go. And then instead of add, subtract. There you go. Because we're adding on top of that anyway. So if we look at this character, we now have a better collar situation. I think it works a little nicer. Might end up needing to move that neck a little bit. Because this neck, I guess in hindsight, this neck wasn't planned very well. So let's parent this head to the neck really quickly. And the two ears to the head. And then I'm going to just move this neck around a bit until it works a little better. Okay, I accidentally had the torso parented to the neck. So technically we want this neck in here to fit in here somewhere. And I'll probably also want to put a piece of the shirt above it. So we're going to want one more piece as well. But I think on the whole, it looks actually pretty good. Neck could actually be rotated a little further down. Let's actually just do that before we go here. Rotate his neck down. Why aren't those ears coming? Okay, let's put this all back where it was. Forgot to put the ears on. Okay, this is not parented to the head. Now let's get the ear front and the ear back parented to the head. The head is parented to the neck. The neck moves forward and down. Actually, just move the neck forward a bit. Let's do it a bit forward. And then the main thing I want to do with this neck is actually rotate it. So I'm just going to rotate this a bit. And let's change this pivot point. Rotate this. Rotate it forward a bit. Good to see because I'm seeing that this neck needs to be above this strap, this second strap here. But we'll figure that out in a minute. And then with the head, I'm going to counter rotate it. So whatever the next rotation was, which is, let's just put it at -10. I'll put the head rotation to 10. And that'll zero it out so the head stays up. And then it's got a little bit more of that angle that was happening from the side. We're just not seeing in the front. That wasn't done in the drawing. Right, just from looking at this, I'm also seeing that I want to, I'm going to fix this belt. That's one thing. But also, I want this collar to be a little bit more, I want this collar to have a little more coverage. So what I might do is actually duplicate this torso back here. So we have this torso back composition. And I think what I might want to do is either extend that. I might want to create a new collar back altogether. And I also need something for the shirt here so that it can sit in front of the neck. If we take a look at the actual neck here, I don't like how it's sitting like a big ball inside the shirt. If we take a look here, like the jacket's on top, but we have this ball. I'd like this to have a piece that goes across here. So there's a couple ways we can do this. Is we can go in and create a whole new piece, or we can try to use the parts that we have in After Effects and segment it up and there's a couple of different options.
In the next video, we're going to spend some time working on this neck area that isn't quite working out. I found that the 3/4 design just was not making the neck look very good. So I decided to add a shirt in there and create a new collar piece that would be a little more convincing when the character's neck was animated. If you like what e.d.Films is doing and want to stay up to date on the latest developments and tutorials, please show your support by liking us on Facebook.